What's up, Lucky Gamers? It's Lucky Lux, and today we're going to be talking about the roadmap that Blue Archive tweeted out. So the first part of it does have for late February the Shirokuro, and then next month we're going to be having Chesed and also Kaiten. So we're going to be talking about the units you want to use, the units you want to start building up and to prepare for. I'm doing this not only for you guys, but for myself because I've been very unprepared. But Chesed, I think we pretty much got this one in the bag. Anyways, if you guys like the video, go ahead and hit the like button, comment down below what you guys think, and then subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of these videos, and also click the bell notification that way you guys know when I go live. Anyways, let's go ahead and hop into the video. Alright, so here we are. This is Total Assault Roadmap. So this does show the Shirokuro that's going on right now. Early March, we're going to be having Chesed, which is going to be going on like in a couple weeks. And then we'll have Kaiten after that. So we'll be going back to light armor. So prepare all your light armor units, and we'll go over the ones that you want to use. And then for Chesed, pretty much we already know about Chesed. We've gone against Chesed quite a bit, but now we have the extreme version of Chesed. So that's going to be interesting because Bina was pretty ridiculous. Chesed might be as well because you're going to have a lot of AoE burn. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about these team formations. All right, so this is a little refresher on Chesed, just in case you haven't seen it. So you're going to be going down the corridor. You're going to be fighting two waves of enemies. You want to kind of wait for your skills. That way you can make sure you take out as many as possible. So I do have Cherno, so it's a little bit easier to do this because Cherno can pretty much like wipe the room, I'll admit. And it's pretty nice. If you don't have Cherno, you could do Nanami. She has a very room wiping skill. You have even Hina, if you have her built up pretty much. You could use Hibiki. Anybody with AoE. You want to use a large amount of AoE for this section right here. But you really only want to use like a couple AoE users. You probably want to use like two. And then leave two for the boss, single target, right? And so those single targets are going to be like Midori. I mean, I know she hits multiple targets, but she's mainly single target. You have Junko, you have Karin for support, so that's decent. You have Iori, which we all know is very useful. There's a lot of units that you have that you could use to burn him, but you just don't want to use too many AoE units, honestly. And then, of course, if you're using you need to use the twins together for them to just do the most damage. I really don't see the point of using only one of the twins as much, but you could. It's just like getting that extra damage on Midori really helps. And getting extra attack speed and attack on Momoi helps as well. But yeah, you just want to clear out these enemies, and then when he drops, he takes like 900% more damage. So you want to just unload everything that you have. You want to make sure that you're fully buffed up. So just keep making sure you got the damage, keep cycling through your abilities, and you don't want to have to fight him after that too much longer. You want him to pretty much be gone before that first minute mark to score pretty high. But if you can't, just keep doing the same thing you did, just cycle and repeat. Just kill the bots as soon as they drop, as you can see, and then that gauge will pretty much come back up. So pretty much the units that you want to use for this, it depends on how strong you are and how strong your units are, right? So if you need a tank, go ahead and use a tank. Tsubaki is probably one of the strongest tanks to use if you really need one, because she doesn't take any extra damage from this, being that she's special armor. You can use Hoshino if you need. Also, you do have Tsurugi to use, and she has AoE whenever she uses her EX skill, so they're decent options for using as a tank. Now, if you are pretty much leveled up, DPS'd out, and you can just pretty much go this without a tank, then Cherno, Midori, Yuzu Hasumi, Momoi, Hifumi, pretty much all of these units are decent for you to use. Probably not Kotori unless you just really love her. You can Neru if you don't really have another single target DPS, but you want to stick it to 2 AoEs and 2 single targets with this. That's going to be the best way to pretty much get this boss down. So Cherno is pretty much going to be like at the top as in usefulness and one of the better units to use, but only if you have highly invested into her. If you don't have this EX skill maxed out, Cherno is going to be probably Nanami is going to be better for you if you already have Nanami built up. And if you didn't get Cherno, it's fine. It's not the end of the world, but you can just get faster runs with her. I've maxed her out, so it costs just as much as Nanami's, and it does more than Nanami's because it hits everybody. And then she also has a sub skill, which pretty much helps out and gives her a bunch of cost recovery. So this is the only reason why I say that Cherno is at the very top if she is invested into. Otherwise, she just moves down a couple ranks as in terms if you were to put a tier to this. Also, the crit damage resistance that she decreases is pretty much top tier for any boss. This is amazing. So it's something to think about. And if you have her, yes, level up the EX skill, the sub skill, like level up all the skills, honestly. These are all amazing. And I just put more into her attack because I want to make sure that she kills whatever I have her attacking with her EX skill. Midori is very good as well for when Chesed pretty much opens up, and she gives an extra heal, which is nice. So you want to make sure you level up the EX skill. I've been slacking on Midori because I leveled up Momoi, but like she gets extra attack speed, she has extra crit, so you want to make sure you have. And then we have Cherno, right? So you want to get Midori's crit up, that way she can crit more times, and then the crit damage resistance decrease that Cherno gives, Midori will be able to help out with that, right? And then you can also boost her heal, that way she can kind of help out every now and then. Every 25 seconds, you know, you can give somebody a heal who's the lowest HP. This really helps out. And then of course on the EX skill, you do want to have Momoi with you, that way she gets that extra poison. And so that would give you, right, if you had to put a team together, Cherno, Midori, and then automatically Momoi, because Momoi is going to give extra damage for Midori and also extra damage for herself. And then her EX skill is pretty much like a cheaper Nanami's ability, especially if you upgrade it into her. And it's going to have that extra burn, which is going to be nice. And then she has extra crit, and then she has extra attack on there and extra little accuracy, which just helps out just a little bit. Not really too much in PvE, but that's 2 units that do a bunch of crits, which helps out with Cherno pretty much. So that's then that last unit that you want to use, it can pretty much be anybody. It does. Iori is probably going to be the one, being that she is an indoor. She's going to get the highest boosting damage. So like if your Iori is not built out, like me myself, then you want to do that. You want to make sure that she is built up, leveled up. Save your total assault coins for her. Try to get all the materials. Try to level her up because she will be the queen of this one right now. As soon as Chesed opens up, unleash all of your damage on her. Put the Kotama onto Iori. Use the EX skill. She's going to do a lot of damage. She's going to get like, what is that? 20% extra damage for being an S in this. And then she's going to get the extra damage for penetration. Like, make sure you level her up. Make sure you get the sub skill also leveled up, because she's not taking any cover. So this is just gonna be extra damage. This as well as extra damage. But get the EX skill, and then I would say the EX skill, and then the sub skill, because the sub skill is just gonna be extra damage to everything. And then, you know, the basic skill, like it happens every 25 seconds. That's nice. But like this you can control, and then this will always be active. The accuracy, I only have this because of PvP, to be honest. That's the only reason why I have this up so high. But yeah, you want to make sure that you get her as high of gear that you are allowed to as your level. But most of us are getting close to max level, so we should really be going for the T5. I just have so many characters, which is why I don't have it on Iori, right? It's not because Iori's bad, I just don't have it for her. Also, another unit that's pretty much slept on, Hasumi. Hasumi does a high amount of damage on single target. I have leveled her up just to try to prove this. Here at level 70, she has 5,000 attack, which is really nice. Now, she's not the best. She's a B and indoor, but still. And then she is a defense type heavy, but, you know, if you can keep her alive, it's really nice. But this EX skill, it's going to start doing a lot of damage for you, especially when that opens up. It's going to hit pretty hard. And with her basic skill, she honestly increases her crit damage, which is really nice because we have Cherno, who boosts the amount of damage that you can do to a unit by lowering their crit damage resistance. Her enhanced skill gets her extra crit damage, and then her sub skill increases her crit by 80% upon reloading. Like, she crits. And so this is a unit that you absolutely absolutely want to look at, because she hits hard. I'm telling you, she hits hard, and I'll probably be doing my raids with her. I already got her up to a 5-star because just I've gotten so many Hasumis, honestly, so I just took her all the way. Another unit that's slept on, Junko. Junko does a lot of damage on her EX skill. It scales very high. It's really good. She also has the invincibility, so she has the survivability for herself. The evasion helps as well for the survivability. And then she does extra damage whenever the enemy is missing HP, right? So she's a good unit. And she hits multiple units while she's doing it. So if you ever need to use an EX skill or use hers, you know that it's going to hit multiples, similar to Harna, but it just doesn't lose damage while doing it. So she's a good one as well to use. And then just level up her equipment. And again, she's only a B in this, but it's fine. It just means she gets a 0. She doesn't get a decrease in damage. She's just right at 0, right flat. Let me see, another single target. Oh, Maki is good if you don't have another single target user for the defense break. But like, I really don't suggest it as much, only because like it's the decreased defense, it's gonna happen like at the wrong time with the mark, since there's not one enemy, there's like multiple enemies all the time. So it's not really advised to use her. It's just not gonna work for you. If you're really wanting to do a defense break, then use a unit that like I still am struggling to level up. Use Akane, because like she can decrease the defense like on demand with her EX skill, and its cost is really cheap, and that's the unit you want to use if you want to do a defense break, right? And then you could actually sacrifice using like the twins, and then use another AoE user, and then put you could probably do Mizuri by herself with Cherno, and then do Iori and then Akane, right? Because like Mizuri pretty much still does a lot of damage. It's just nice to have the extra AoE. Because like with my Cherno being pretty much like leveled up, she'll get her EX skill to use it for the times that she needs. But you don't want to sacrifice too much AoE. It just depends on your situation. Like me personally, I probably wouldn't use Akane and just blast the boss. But that's only because I haven't leveled her up. But she is a very solid option for decreasing the defense when he gets down, but he increases the damage he gets. So it's pretty much all about just like cycling your skills, and like you could pretty much beat it without it, in my opinion. But again, she probably is amazing for this, and someone's gonna tell me in the comment section. And I don't doubt it, because she's pretty much used in most raids. So level her up, get her. It's kind of like Kotama, like just level them up for the sake of raids. Like even if you're not going to use them for anything else, really, just level them up for raids. They're pretty much always used. Like seriously, they're pretty much always used. Neru's also decent for single target. She's also pretty tanky. When she increases her attack, it also doesn't cost much, but she does extra crit damage, which is helpful if you have Momoi. She increases her attack, she gets enraged, increases her evasion. She does okay single target damage if you don't have like any of the others, like Midori, Hasumi, Iori, Junko. If you don't have any of those leveled up, but you love Neru and she's your waifu, you could also use her as well. There's no problem with using her like at all. And then Yuzu. Yuzu does quite a bit of damage, honestly, and there's not much for me to really say about her. It's just that, I mean, her EX skill, it does AoE damage with it, but it also hits very hard on the boss. Her basic skill goes for anybody with the highest attack. And then her enhanced skill and sub skill is all just crit damage, so that goes with Cherno. She's a very solid unit, and I see no reason why not to use her. It's just a unit that like I didn't really put at the top of the list, because not a lot of people I know have Yuzu. Actually, a lot of people slept on Yuzu, and then they saw me use her later on, and they're like, oh my god, Yuzu's pretty much amazing. And then Nanami, of course, using her, she's going to be very good. Her EX skill, it's a fan. It costs 5, which is, it's fine. It's fine. And then she increases her attack by quite a bit. So she gets high attack, she gets her crit damage, which is good if you're using a Cherno. And then also she does extra damage to large size enemies. So get her leveled up if you can. Even though she is a D and Endure, it's fine. She'll still do a lot of damage to the just like regular enemies that are around the map, you know. So, and then the only other unit that I would really talk about was gonna be Hoshino. I'm not gonna talk about Pina. Pina is Pina. If you want to use her, you can use her. She's your wife. You can use her. She's single target. I personally wouldn't, but hey, Hoshino is good because her attack does AOE. So probably for the extreme raid, you might need to use her for the 2 teams, right? Even though yes, she will take a lot of damage with the defense type, but you can use her EX skill to kind of counter that. But she can take out multiple units with her EX skill as well, and then she heals herself. She gets all the extra defense. She gets a shield. Just make sure you have her leveled up. If you're gonna bring her there, don't bring a squishy Hoshino because she's just gonna be a waste. If you're gonna do that, just use Tsubaki. Honestly, that's what I would probably do. But those are pretty much the units for Chesed that you want to use. Now, we're gonna talk about Kaiten. Kaiten's gonna be a little bit different, honestly. Now, Kaiten is pretty much a Power Rangers Megazord. Honestly, all the colors and the units that you have. So now this boss is going to be completely new to me, but I've been seeing how people fight. A lot of people have been talking about him. So it looks like for the extreme, you're going to be fighting a total of 8 mil health, which is not, it's not the worst. It's not the worst, but you can see the jump, right? You're pretty much going from 3 mil all the way up to 8 mil. So be wary of that. Like if you're gonna do extreme, like we've been talking about a lot on the stream, on the stream, if you're gonna do extreme, make sure that you have the damage. Make sure you have like the tank, the health. It's not worth the stress if you know you're not leveled up. I would say like 5-starring a unit is very helpful for the extreme because it gives you extra attack and gives you extra health. It's not necessary, especially if you have them fully built, and you can always use multiple teams. But just remember that your team's power is going to decrease, and I know a lot of you guys are free to play, and I know a lot of you guys don't have a lot of units. So like, don't stress yourself on this. Like, you can always test it, you can always look and see. But like, a lot of people who are beating these are people who are just like mega Omega Kraken whales. So like, just, don't stress yourself too much. Like, getting 100 coins from this is perfectly fine. Even if hardcore is difficult for you and you're still just starting out, like, do very hard. Just, push yourself to get to the highest that you can. But extreme is just such a big jump in power. It literally is just like, hey, this is possible. And the fact that Insane is out there, it's just, again, another thing where it's like, okay, we're going to obviously need signature weapons and different things like that. So, yeah, just be careful. So the skills that he has: infinite rotation, super shrimp machine gun. So that's the pink right arm, deals 400% damage against enemies in a round shaped area. So he's going to do AoE, so we want to make sure that we keep our people healed up because AoE damage is kind of ridiculous. Hyper Tuna missile, it's going to be coming from his red form. It's just going to deal 300% damage against enemies, which I'm guessing this is going to hit everybody or one person. And the left arm is going to be green. Creates a blue shield and reduces incoming damage by 50% and can be canceled by hitting it 10 times with a student's offensive EX skill. So this is where you want to use somebody who has a very cheap EX skill that hits multiple times. So that's where Ashina comes into play. That's where Shiriko comes into play. A lot of people where you just have like very cheap EX skills and you want to just spam that on that there. Deals 400% of unavoidable damage against all enemies. So that's going to suck. So you want to make sure you heal yourself. And then burn your heart out. We can still go around. Every 20 seconds, the parts are activated in the following order: right arm, pink chest, red, left arm green when the parts are activated. So you get right arm pink, increases attack by 50%. The chest will inflict a stun to the enemies when they attack with their EX skills for 5 seconds. Okay, that sucks. And then left arm green, increased defense by 1,000. If a certain amount of damage is accumulated, this part will be destroyed and can no longer be activated. Okay, so it seems like you want to have a defense break on that guy. So in the first phase, will fight the Kaitengers, which are, I think, the Power Rangers. They'll share the same XP. Every minute, everyone's EX skill are timed to be used at the same time, so it's recommended to use a student's EX skill who provoke to cancel them at all times. So it sounds like you want to use, at the higher levels, probably Tsubaki, because she's the only one who does provoke. No, Tsubaki or, well, Hifumi does it, but I don't know if you want to bring Hifumi. But you could totally cancel their EX skills with Tsubaki if that's an option to do for you, or maybe you could just like DPS this down, honestly, if you have the defense. And then Kaitenger Black, every 12-second shield deal a single attack and reduce the enemy's defense. I don't know how useful that is on from normal to hardcore, but maybe on extreme that defense break will just pretty much annihilate somebody. So I don't know if you need to bring a cleanser or you just need to watch out for that unit. So the green one will attack all enemies in a round shape area every 20 seconds. So you just want to make sure you have a heal up. Kaitenger Yellow, every 15 seconds she does a single attack of 400%. It's unknown if attacks have any extra effects. So if you do have a tank, which I'd probably suggest, you can make sure that you have a tank who takes all of these attacks, because this will pretty much kill your units if you're not prepared. And then the pink one is increasing allies attack for 15 seconds. Yeah, so it'd probably be best on the extreme to obviously have a tank and then take out these units. It's seeming like units that do hit multiple enemies will be very useful, right, since they share XP. But then I would probably take out the ones that just kind of do extra stuff. Because like the red one will yeah, so okay. So the way this is going is that they will all proc their EX skills at the same time. And then Kaitenger Red every 20 seconds will provoke you for 10 seconds. So you want to take out Red first, because this is going to be annoying, right? And then after that, I would probably take out, you could debate Kaitenger Pink because it increases the attack, which is probably a huge increase. So then you can go Pink. Then after that, it just depends on what's like the most useful. Like you can do Black because it's taking out your tank with the defense, but then if you have like Tsubaki, then Tsubaki's not, her lower defense isn't really like hurting anything. So then you could probably do the Kaitenger Green, that way, because that one's going to be hitting multiple targets, and if your people are close to Tsubaki, they could be taking a lot of damage. And then you can go Yellow, and then Black. Just depends, right? And then, all right, so phase 2, teachers will face a combined power of Kaitenger Mech, which is the Megazord. Its state will change every 20 seconds. It can be determined by the color circled under its feet. So that, I'm guessing that's the different colors of the Rangers or the Kaitengers. Its ATG gauge will increase automatically, and it takes roughly around 1 minute to be full. All right, so you need to make sure you do a lot of damage with that, honestly. When it uses this attack, it will, so the infinite rotation Hypertuna missile, when it uses this attack, it will stun all enemies should a student use an offensive EX skill. So that's going to suck. I don't know if like CC resistance is going to help this, right, for these stuns, because getting stunned definitely takes out a lot of your damage, honestly, and you have to like be prepared for that unit when you use them, that they're going to be stunned. You have to like make sure to like know that like if that unit gets stunned, they're not going to do any more damage for a couple of seconds. So infinite rotation final macro slash, this EX skill will only be activated once all 3 HE. Oh, wait. Ultra Disc Shield. Once it's activated, immediately destroy it with a low cost but high EX skills such as Shiriko or Hina. So there you go. So use Hina, S-Hina, and then you got Shiriko. Don't use regular Hina, that costs way too much. It's like a 7 cost. This EX, so the final macro slashes, once it's activated after the 3 HE gauge, so although the effects are flashy and deals 400%, it's not very powerful. Students should be able to withstand it if they are trained well and have a good amount of HP left. So it's basically saying that like if you have your pretty much your health equipment, like the middle one, leveled up, you should be able to tank this. So that's pretty good. What it mainly seems like is that you want to just make sure that you get this shield out the way and you're prepared for the tunas, and then on the first phase that you can just like DPS these guys down. That way these debuffs and the extra effects that they have aren't really being used. But when it becomes the Megazord, it doesn't seem too like crazy to me. From just looking at this, it looks like you know, it's gonna stun everybody, which is gonna suck, right? But like if you're gonna use a move, just prepare to like, as soon as you get out of there, like heal everybody. So you use an AoE heal. I haven't seen the field yet. I haven't seen anything for this. I kind of want it to be a surprise, but I'm just reading up on it just to give you guys an insight to it. And then this EX skill here for the AT, like if you get to it, it seems like it's not that powerful. So make sure you have your units built up. And then as Hina, they're pretty much like putting this raid out for her. But if you don't have her, then you have Shiriko. And everyone's been farming for Shiriko pretty much. So, and then again, his explosion is recommended. And then make sure you have people who are for field, right? They call it desperate, it's for field. And that's pretty much Kaiten. So like, if we're going to look at the units that we have now, right? So we're looking at some explosive units. So Koharu will be useful for you as a healer. Should just AoE, since these guys do a lot of AoE damage. You still have so tank wise, Tsubaki was the tank, since you can pretty much taunt all those guys earlier. But they're saying that Shiriko is a really good unit to use to break down that shield. And then for like single target damage, you still have Azusa, you got Serika, and then if you need a tank, you still have Yuka, so Haruka. You still got like Mutsuki for AoE damage, Akari for some AoE damage. If you really don't have any of these units, you got Kayako for AoE damage, you got Shun for single target, Aru for AoE damage, and then you do have Hina, but Hina's EX skill costs a lot. So you do want to watch for that. But the red units, if you have them built up, again, like you want to use, you probably want to use like somebody who hits these targets multiple times. So so that you can just make sure to take out the not only the shields but the rangers, because I know Hina targets multiple like up to 5 targets, so she's pretty much made for this. So yeah, and then Koharu is going to help everybody, and then she also does some AoE damage whenever you like are pretty much healed up. So Koharu is going to be very useful for this one as well. If you didn't get her, I'm so sorry. But if you need somebody for special, a couple of units that you could look at, honestly. So you have Saya for damage. You have Hibiki. You got Mashiro. You have Juri, and then you also let me see, what else could you use? I mean, you can use Irie. We just talked about her. You throw that on those units, and then Hibiki as well. So people will probably be using Hibiki and Kotama starting out, but there's absolutely no problem with like using Saya if you don't have Hibiki. You also could do single target with Mashiro for the boss. It's very cheap. It costs 3. Yeah, there's quite a bit of units. This one seems a little bit better since it has a little bit AoE. It's not full single target, so there's a little bit more units you could use versus like the priest, but it does seem pretty fun. But that's all I have. As Kaiten gets closer, and then we see more of the units, or actually when Kaiten gets here in the month from now, we'll be able to like do some runs and see how much we can do, see if we can even complete the extreme. But anyways, that's pretty much all I have for the next upcoming raids. Just wanted to give you guys either a refresher and then also show some of the units that you want to work on and think about, because I know a lot of us are pretty much pressed on mats, being that we have so many new characters and rushing everything out. But thankfully this event that's going on right now gives a lot of mats, so you do want to take advantage of that, honestly. But I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. You lucky gamers, have a good one. Lucky Lux out.